Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? What is going on, Jayhawk Nation? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy. And wow, holy smokes, do we have a clash of blue bloods, ladies and gentlemen. The Kansas Jayhawks will be going into Chapel Hill to take on the University of North Carolina Tarheels. I'm looking forward to this game just from a college basketball standpoint. You know, they are really competing against college football at its prime right now. Games are starting to pick up where they're getting more impactful. And so this is a game that really bolsters two really talented programs, really kind of taking the limelight, and it's going to be a phenomenal basketball game. I'm amped. I truly am. We're going to really jump in, talk about some historical value, which we talked a little bit about previously, and how KU became KU, and really kind of how North Carolina has its ties. We're going to talk about a matchup, really the roster turnover that North Carolina has had and their rebuild aspect. We're really going to talk about two freshmen that are going to go head to head, not necessarily position wise, but they will be going head to head. And then really kind of what I anticipate for this game. I'm excited. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. Now, the University of North Carolina and the University of Kansas share one of the most historic and intertwined legacies in college basketball. Their connection traces directly back to the game's inventor, Dr. James Naismith, who founded Kansas basketball program in 1898. After creating the sport in 1891, one of Naismith's early proteges, Phog Allen, became known as the father of basketball coaching and built Kansas into a national powerhouse. Allen later mentored Dean Smith, a Kansas native and former Jayhawk player who went on to become a legendary head coach at North Carolina. Under Smith, UNC rose to a prominence, developing its own rich basketball tradition and producing icons such as Michael Jordan, James Worthy, and Roy Williams. The connection came full circle when Roy Williams, who spent over a decade as an assistant under Dean Smith at the University of North Carolina, became Kansas's head basketball coach in 1988. He led the Jayhawks for 15 seasons before returning to North Carolina in 2003, where he would take over at the helm and win 3 national championships in his tenure. Now today, both programs share more than success. They share a coaching lineage, philosophy, and respect that bind two college basketball's greatest traditions, symbolizing the enduring influence of Naismith's original creation. This game just has so much really rooted in it, and I think the players kind of understand that. The coaches definitely understand that. The fan bases for 100% understand that because of Roy Williams more recently. And just a lot of things really historically that are playing into this game. Now, matchup outlook. When Kansas faces North Carolina, the key matchup themes will be guard play and tempo. Now, Kansas is guard-heavy unit versus North Carolina's more balanced guard front lineup. Their front court versus size. University of North Carolina brings more size on the inside. We do have guys like Flory Badunga, who is 6'8", 6'9", and you have guys like Bryson Tiller, who's 6'10", who's a little bit younger. But Kansas will need to adjust and compensate with wings or quicker forwards. Now, experience versus youth. Now, the University of North Carolina has more players with high-level experience because majority of their players, which we'll talk about, are all gone. So they really went and hit the transfer portal heavy. They have a ton of returning seniors. Excuse me, not a ton, but they have returning seniors. Kansas has more freshmen / underclassmen that may be untested in high-pressure situations, really high-pressure games. Shooting and spacing is a key factor to pay attention to. North Carolina's incoming wing, Bokovac, and guards like Evans give them perimeter threats. Kansas will need to defend thoughtfully and generate their own offense without dominant post players. Prognostically, University of North Carolina may have a slight advantage in terms of roster readiness and balance. Kansas has the upside, but perhaps a little bit more risk, some growth curves, some cohesion, which we've talked about in numerous videos covering this Kansas basketball program. The outcome could hinge on how well Kansas's young players step up and whether University of North Carolina can maintain consistency. I'm going to go ahead and let Bill Self, in his interview, talk a little bit about North Carolina.
Just wondering the challenges of preparing for Carolina. I know they've had one game and some exhibition games. What stands out about them? What challenges do they present? And are you guys, is this something you get, every game's important, but is this something you get excited about doing, going out there and playing in that venue?
Yeah, I've never been to Chapel Hill to play. So I am personally excited. I know the players are and will be a lot more as we get closer. But I'm excited about it. You know, I've seen and we've seen you know, the exhibition and obviously the game against Central Arkansas. And, you know, they got a pretty impressive freshman too. They're big. They're always great on the glass. They're always great in transition, and they're skilled on the perimeter and make shots. Certainly, you know, and playing, you know, at their place in front of 21 or 22, whatever the number is, it will be a tough challenge, but one that we need to go through to kind of see where we're at and hopefully learn from.
Now, we're going to jump in and really talk about that roster turnover and really the rebuild that North Carolina has endured. The team lost virtually their entire core from last season. All 5 starters departed. Major departures included graduates and transfers. For example, guards like an absolute stud, R.J. Davis and Jalen Withers graduated. Several others entered the transfer portal. So to rebuild, they brought in significant new pieces. So they have transfers. The 7-foot center, Henry Vassar, who transferred in from Arizona, really was hoping Kansas found a way to get this guy, but he ended up choosing North Carolina. Forward Jaron Stevenson, a 6'10" big man from Alabama. Guard Kyan Evans, 6'2" from Colorado State. Guard Jonathan Powell, a 6'6", really big man, plays pretty big, from West Virginia. Guard Luka Bokovic from Montenegro, and he is 6'6". Among others, they brought in an absolute stud 5-star forward, Caleb Wilson, freshman, who is 6'10", plus guards Derek Dixon, 6'5", and Isaiah Dennis, 6'4", were part of that incoming class. One of the few returning rotation players is guard Seth Trimble, who is 6'3". Now, implications with this. With so much turnover, this will be a season of transition. The coaching staff will need to integrate new players, establish chemistry, and reset expectations. They did get, obviously, a few exhibition games, and their most recent game was against Central Arkansas, where they really put up a ton of points. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-930 or visit lisamillersellskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Again, a huge mismatch for Central Arkansas. It's just a massive mismatch, especially a powerhouse blue blood like the University of North Carolina. Now, a lot of people are going to be paying attention to this game, specifically probably NBA scouts, because it will be a Peterson versus Wilson. And again, while they don't occupy the same position, the clash of Peterson and Wilson is interesting because they represent different archetypes and team needs. Peterson, the wing guard, the number 1 prospect in all of college basketball, versus Wilson, a big man, a forward, means a contrast of styles. Perimeter scoring and playmaking versus front court dominance and really interior defense. Kansas might try to get Peterson into a pick and roll type of play. You know, obviously we know Peterson has the ability to drive, he has the ability to shoot, he has the ability to really draw attention and feed other guys around him. Spacing out the floor is going to be key for Peterson, and letting him attack off the dribble or spot up shoot really is going to be one of the most important things. He must be ready for University of North Carolina's front court length and help the defense via Wilson and others. Now, North Carolina will lean on Wilson to control the glass and protect the rim. I really think it's going to be a big challenge for Flory Badunga and really any of those other bigs that enter the game for sure. And again, if Peterson drives or kicks out, Wilson's presence inside matters. If Wilson draws help, it opens up space for Kansas' guards and wings. The momentum of the freshmen matters for their respective teams. If Peterson gets going early, Kansas may ride his wave. If Wilson sets a physical tone inside and really kind of potentially get Flory into some foul trouble, it helps University of North Carolina control the tempo and confidence at home. Now, really, how is this narrative? What are we going to watch when it comes to this? Early minutes matter in this game. If Kansas jumps out with Peterson hitting shots, drawing fouls, and making plays, the University of North Carolina will need to respond quickly. And I think one of the biggest things, and I'll let Bill Self talk about that, is the health of Darren Peterson. Darren Peterson has been dealing with cramps. He had to come out in the Louisville game in the exhibition, and he had to come out as well in the home opener, and he had to sit out majority of the second half due to cramps. So Bill Self will talk about that situation.
It's concerning because, we're not going to be near as effective, him playing, 16 minutes a game, but it's something that we don't anticipate being anything that lasts. But, we're taking it serious and feel like that we're in better shape than we were, obviously, a week ago.
So early minutes, again, matter. If Kansas jumps out with Peterson hitting those shots, drawing fouls, and making plays, North Carolina will need to respond quickly. Conversely, if Wilson asserts himself early with rebounds, blocks, or finishing at the rim, North Carolina can set the tone at home, and I think that's the biggest factor in this entire thing. Home court advantage in college basketball is a significant thing. The crowd is amped. You're talking 21 to 22,000 people. North Carolina is just an environment. It's not as close to an Allen Fieldhouse, but the environment will be next level because they're playing a blue blood in Kansas. So that's something to really think about. Tempo and control. Kansas may want to operate faster. That's kind of Bill Self's motto, I feel like. He wants this team to work fast, using Peterson's agility. North Carolina may look to slow things down, play inside out via Wilson, and work through him. And I also think Vassar is another one to pay attention to as well. The 7-foot big man, they may really work it down to him as well. Rebounding and second chance points. That's another thing to really take into consideration. Wilson's rebounding and interior presence, as well as Vassar and a few others, versus Kansas's wings crashing the boards, including Peterson, could determine the margin of victory. You're really going to have to see how guys start to play in this team. And when I say that, Kansas, you have tons of guys that are new to Kansas as well. And so you're really going to have to see how they adapt, how they start to play within this offense when there's pressure on them. And I think that's big. It was good to go on the road in Louisville and play them on the road in an exhibition game. Although it didn't matter, you still went on the road in a decent environment, played a very good ranked opponent, and you were able to come out victorious. Although, again, that game didn't matter, it was a good test. Now, this is a true test. This is in season. This counts. This will matter. So that is a big thing. Now, defensive matchups and switching. Will Kansas risk having Peterson defend a post-up type like Wilson, or will UNC have to rotate and help onto Peterson? It'll be interesting to see who's guarding Darren Peterson. These tactical moves will shape pivotal stretches, and I do believe that. Home court advantage is something we talked about. Playing at Chapel Hill gives UNC the crowd, the energy, and the comfort. But Kansas has been there before and will need to block out the backdrop to allow Peterson and company to perform. And I could not agree more. I really think this is going to be a perfect game to see this early in the season. It's a true test. And like Bill Self mentioned in his press conference, these types of games are super important for setting the tone for the season. You're really seeing where you're at early on, and you know how to adjust. Because, yes, they played North Carolina, but then they follow that up and they can learn and really implement what they've learned from this game into the next few games. They can see where maybe they had some weaknesses. Maybe they really excelled in some areas. It's going to be very important for Darren Peterson to get going. And I think to feed Flory Badunga and really get a lot of these guys like Trey White and a ton of others to get going, we're going to have to see Trey White step up. The 6'7" is going to have to really man up and play good basketball in this game, just like many others on this team. We're going to have to see Cole Rosario become something. You're really putting a lot of pressure on some younger guys to really do big things. And that's what I anticipate in this game. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think of this game. I'm super excited. I do want to give you all a shout out. I really appreciate it. We hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel. Onward to 10K. That is the goal, to get to 10,000 subscribers. I can't thank you all enough for the support. It's been so good. And I really am so grateful. Make sure you guys smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.